Hello, my name is Barbara Kay, and on behalf of my co-host Susan Pertnoy and the Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County, I'd like to welcome you to our program, Mosaic.
Our focus today is the future of Jewish peoplehood. We'll be back with our program and our special guests after this brief message.
Thousands of community members come together through programs and services provided by Federation and our local partner agencies to create a vibrant and vital community in Palm Beach County. Together, we can ensure a vibrant Jewish future. Federation and you, changing the world together. Our Jewish Federation has accomplished so much and still needs keep growing. You can help us do even more. Community, like every gift, counts. Together, we can ensure a vibrant Jewish future. Federation and you, changing the world together.
Welcome back, and welcome Sandy Backlor.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here with you, Susan.
Thank you. You're the chairman of the board of the Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County and the host, along with your wife, Arlene Kaufman, for this wonderful evening today at this beautiful house.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you for hosting this. Tell me, what's the mission of the Jewish Federation?
Well, the easy answer is to look on our website, because we encourage people to look on the website. It gives a much better description of everything that we do. But we have a number of agencies that provide human services, healthcare services within our community. And in addition, we also provide funding for overseas needs, such as through the Jewish Agency for Israel and through the American Jewish Joint Distribution Commission. And we're the umbrella for all of these various services that we support. And it's a very important part of our federation, of our community.
It certainly is. And can you tell me what motivated you to become so deeply involved?
Oh my, that's always a question I've been asked before, and I think everybody comes at it from a different way. The idea of Jewish peoplehood is something that I probably grew up with. I mean, I can remember as a very young child, but my father would carry me on Friday afternoon to the tzedakah box to put money in, and I still have that pushka. The map of Israel was a lot different than it is today. But I've always been involved in Jewish causes, Jewish outreach, and looking through a number of different things, which I went through a period of examining everything where I wanted to be. I found that the Federation movement was the one that most appealed to me. It was a contribution of time, it was a contribution of services. I grew up in Baltimore, moving down to Palm Beach area about 15 years ago, but I've always been involved in the Federation. Even though I looked at a lot of other things, this is what appealed to me. And it's always been very comfortable. And it answers my needs to be involved with Jewish peoplehood. And the best thing is I've got a partner, Arlene, and who you know, who certainly goes the same way as I do. So when we met, it was a very comfortable gathering together.
Well, it's a double win for the community, I must say.
Well, it's something we both enjoy doing.
We're here tonight for the Prime Minister's Council dinner. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. The Prime Minister's Council dinner, affectionately known as the PMC dinner, Prime Minister's Council, is part of a level of giving. It's throughout the entire system of the Jewish Federations of North America. And this is for people who commit on an annual basis $100,000 or more to their federation to provide the services. While many people make that level of gift, they may also choose to do another gift to support a particular cause or a particular need. But the PMC level is for those people who give over $100,000 to our federation. The nice part of it is we have a nice crowd here coming this evening, and we're very proud to be able to be part of this organization and know that these are people that really care. They just don't talk the talk, they walk the walk and put the money up there too.
They do, and it's wonderful to have that give and take in conversation so that we learn with each other during evenings such as this. Why did you choose Avraham Infeld as your keynote speaker?
Avraham has been my teacher for 45 years. I first met him 45 years ago when he came to Baltimore as a shaliach. He went back to Israel. He's had a lot of interesting positions that I've always been involved with in supporting him. Melitz, he then became actually he was the first director of Birthright Israel. Not many people realize that part of it. And he's continuously involved in activities. He's also, for several years, was the director of the International Board of Hillel, or the chairman of, I'm not sure what the right title is, probably president of Hillel. So he has done things like this all his life, and he's been a teacher to me for 45 years. And but I say that I met him 45 years ago. He says, no, that's not when we met. And for those people who have heard his story, and over the 100,000 Birthright people who've heard him on trips in Israel, because he's talked to more than 100,000 of the participants. And when they say, when did you meet? And they say, I met tonight. He said, no, you didn't. We met at Sinai. And that's how long we've been in the same family.
Oh my goodness. Well, on that note, we're looking forward to this evening. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here and doing this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome, Avraham. What a pleasure it is to have you
Barbara,
back here.
thank you so much for having me on MOSAIC again. It's wonderful being back in Palm Beach, and great seeing you.
Yes, wonderful. Actually, the last time we were together, we talked about Hillel. But I think it's good for our viewers to understand where you get your deep passion for education, for Jewish identity, for the need to educate. Where does it come from? It must have come from your parents.
I really believe that passion for anything begins in family.
Yeah.
Family is a core of Jewish life, and if you get passionate about anything, you get it from the family. And perhaps the tragedy of our life today is that Jewish families are not passionate about anything anymore. And that's why we have to try to reignite that passion. I grew up in a home which was filled with a love for the Jewish people. Although my father was not religious, he was an atheist. Mm-hmm. He was a Jewish atheist. He always used to say, I'm an atheist, Baruch Hashem.
Yeah, well, it was a kosher home too, wasn't it?
No, it became kosher after my time.
Oh,
no,
okay.
But not at all. But my father used to, every Shabbat, my father used to learn a page of Talmud with me, and then we used to watch opera together for an hour. And that was the education. He was passionate about being Jewish, passionate about opera, passionate about everything. And from that kind of home, I grew up with a commitment to the Jewish people. I moved to Israel when I was 16. My dad came to me one morning and said to me, Avraham, goodbye. I said, Dad, where are you going? He said, I'm not, you are. And I packed my bags and moved to Israel, and I've been there ever since.
Remember what he said? He said, is there a reason you don't want to go? And you said,
you remember that story?
Share that story with our viewers.
I really didn't want to go. I had an absolutely gorgeous girlfriend, and I didn't want to leave her. I mean, it was... and I said to my dad, maybe I'll go to university in South Africa, and then I'll go to Israel. My father says to me, you're a Jewish youngster, there's a Jewish state, goodbye. I said, but Abba, he said, it's because of her, right? I said, yes. And my father says to me, I promise you that if she really loves you, she'll follow you. I said, Dad, are you sure? He said, 100%. And I've never seen her since.
No. You
spoke a
few years ago, you did see her.
A few years ago, I spoke in London. And I gave a talk, and I told the story, and I said, I've never seen her since. And she stood up in the audience after 42 years. She's changed unbelievably.
What did she say about you?
I know I stayed the way I was, but she changed.
Okay.
So that passion for things Jewish was really something from the home.
Yeah, but being in Israel, living in Israel, it changed your whole perspective about life, no?
Well, it's very interesting that you ask. It's more than a perspective about life. It created for me a worldview of what is leadership all about, what is a mission in life about, how much can one's life be enriched if you have a mission for your life. And so I've spent my life, and particularly the years I spent as the president of Hillel, trying to ignite within people a sense of mission. What do you like to see change in this world?
Yeah.
How would you like to make this a better world? Do you want to do it alone? Oh, no, you can't do it alone. You want to do it with your people. Who's your people? It's your tight family, and then it's your wider family, the Jewish people. And that is why, if you think about what Jews always were, was a network of Jewish communities. That's what made Jewish life important. You woke up in the morning as a Jew, you knew there was somebody doing what you're doing thousands and thousands of miles away.
Yeah.
You were part of that common family that was so very, very important to me.
You know, it's interesting. In the beginning, Sandy said something about the fact that it's peoplehood. He feels a connection to peoplehood, and that was why he's so involved in the Federation and all Jewish opportunities that he can be involved with here. The peoplehood, the sense of connection, is critical.
I have to tell you that my big disappointment with America is that they somehow managed to convince our young people that Judaism is a religion. And they made a terrible error in doing that. We are not a religion. We are a people that has a religion. But what unites us is not our common belief, but our common membership in this thing called the Jewish people. I go to synagogue. I go every day, but I also go on Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year. You stand before God Almighty in this day, and you ask God to forgive you for your sins. And you beat your chest as you read out this prayer called the Al-Chet, which is a long list of sins. Mm-hmm. And Barbara, you may not believe it, I'm a very passionate guy, so when I read out that prayer, I beat my chest real hard. But half the things on that list, I've never done. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, maybe I just never had the opportunity, but I never did them.
Okay.
So why am I beating my chest?
For others.
Because we Jews never pray in the singular. Now that's very strange. Every prayer of every religion in the world is a prayer in the singular. Uh-huh. We Jews only pray in the Hebrew. Al-Chet Shechatanu. Forgive me for the sins we committed. We only talk in the plural, not in the singular. And for me, therefore, Jewish education begins with how do I move away from constantly talking about me and I to talking about we and us. And being able to see not only my responsibility to the Jewish people, but how do we as a people have a responsibility for the world. I want to tell you a quick story that I haven't told you before. I had to give a talk on a Sunday morning at 8:30 in Washington, D.C., at 11:30 in Baltimore, Maryland, at 3 o'clock in Wilmington, Delaware, and at 8 o'clock at night in New York City.
Okay.
There's no way you can do that on public transportation. So I had to rent a car, and I drove from city to city. When you drive in a car on a Sunday morning in America, and you turn on the radio, you either have one of two choices. You can either listen to sports, or you can listen to Christian evangelists. I don't listen to sports in America because America, they play no sport of significance. You don't play cricket, you don't play soccer, you play no sports, so I don't have anything to listen to. So I listen to these Christian evangelists. By the time I reached New York, they are so good, I was almost saved. And suddenly I remembered something that my father said to me. Don't ever forget, the role of the Jew is not to be saved, but to save. That has guided me for all the work that I have done. I have responsibility to save my people. I have responsibility to my family. But we as a family have a responsibility to save the world. And those things excite me. It's a big chore. It's a big challenge, but it's exciting to have such a challenge in life.
Without question. You have to have a lot of energy. Oh my God, beside passion. On that note, we'll take a break. We'll be back with the remainder of the program after this brief message.
When I was young, I went to Jewish summer camp, traveled to Israel, and participated in leadership development groups. Today I'm teaching my children that being part of the Jewish community helps keep our heritage and traditions alive and vibrant, and can be fulfilling, exciting, and fun.
At the age of 90, I started a second career, delivering meals to homebound seniors. Because I'm a senior myself, I know how tough it can get. If somebody is in trouble and needs help, we need to be there for them. As Jews, it's who we are. It's what we do.
When my family needed help, we turned to the Federation, and they were there for us. How good it was for us to know that we are not alone.
Community, like every gift, counts. Together, we can ensure a vibrant Jewish future. Federation and you, changing the world together. Through our partner agency programs in Israel, Federation creates opportunities for at-risk youth, families, and seniors. We also provide emergency assistance to the victims of terrorism. Community, like every gift, counts. Together, we can ensure a vibrant Jewish future. Federation and you, changing the world together.
Welcome back to Mosaic. Prior to the break, we were talking about passion and caring for others and our obligation as Jews. Okay, how do you transmit that to the young people today? That's not easy.
It's very, very, very difficult. And as I said previously, you have a hard job because you also have to undo something that we've made the mistake of teaching. And that is this whole business of being Jewish being a religion. In a world in which it's not easy to be religious, we try to convince our kids that that Judaism is a religion. It's not. Judaism is that sense of belonging to a people with a mission. A part of that mission is a relationship that this Jewish people has with God. But I can't approach God as an individual, as a Jew. When I stand before God Almighty as a Jew, I stand not as an individual, but as a member of my Jewish community. You know, it's interesting to note that the first, and I hate this word, but the first convert to Judaism was a woman in the Bible by the name of Ruth.
Yes.
The story of Ruth tells a story of a woman called Naomi. They have 2 children. They live in the land of Israel. Famine comes to the land of Israel. They can't feed their children, so they leave the land of Israel. They go to the mountains of Moab. Tragedy happens. Her husband dies. She brings up her 2 sons alone. They marry Moabite women. Tragedy happens. The 2 sons die. And there is Naomi left with her 2 daughters-in-law. And she can't take these tragedies, and she says to these daughters-in-law, I'm leaving. I'm going home. And the one daughter-in-law turns her back on her and leaves her. And the other daughter-in-law, Ruth, who becomes the great-grandmother of King David, the forerunner of the Messiah in both Jewish and in Christian tradition, this woman Ruth uses 4 words in order to understand what it becomes a Jew. And those words were, Amech ami ve'Elohayich Elohai. Your people are my people, and only then is your God my God. The order is not accidental. If I want to become a Christian, I can go to the church, I can say, your God is my God. I want to become a Muslim, I can go to the Qadi, I can say, your God is my God. You can never become a Jew without first saying, your people are my people, and your God is my God. Your people is my people comes first. And that is why this whole term that we use about converting to Judaism, I'm in the middle of a campaign against that terminology. The Hebrew word giyur does not mean conversion.
What does it mean?
It comes from the word to live with, to share with, to be with, not convert. We can't convert to a family. We Jews are a family. You can be adopted by a family, but you cannot be converted into a family. And that is why in Judaism, who is a converted Jew? Not somebody who joins us, but somebody who leaves us. He may think he's a Catholic. Have I got news for him? By Jewish law, he's a converted Jew. But somebody who joins us is a Jew. He's not a converted Jew. And why don't we keep reminding him that he's a converted Jew? Because you don't keep reminding an adopted child that they're adopted. Once they're part of the family, they're part of the family. So my message to young Jews, and very often opens them, I don't know if you know, I meet with tens of thousands, I think it's over 100,000 birthright kids that I've met with since Birthright started. I want you to know, my message to them leaves them with open eyes. No one's ever told them that we're a family. They've told them that we're a religion, and they ain't too interested in being a religion. When you talk to them about being a family, they start to think differently about whom they are, about what our responsibilities are, our concern for each other. Why should I be concerned about a Jew in the former Soviet Union? Because he's a co-religionist of mine? Co-religionists go to war all over the world. Christians fight Christians, Muslims fight Muslims. Families try to live together. And we are a family and we don't teach that. I am upset. That was my biggest disappointment in Hillel.
Why?
That people that I met, Jewish people in this country, that were brought up with that misconception, and I did all I can to teach them you're a people. By the way, federation, and I'm here for federation, I go all over the world to talk for federations. I'm a committed federation individual. Federation doesn't make sense if we're a religion. Federation makes sense if we're a people. If we have a responsibility to members of our family. That's when federation has meaning. And that's why Sandy was quite correct when he said peoplehood is essential. We have now got to redevote our efforts to teaching young people peoplehood, and they are more than willing to listen.
Yeah, but we have to have leaders, okay? In order to teach and have followers, we have to have a leader.
Yeah.
I mean, Moses was our major
God.
leader.
If you know,
Tell the story.
if I was interviewing you, if I was interviewing me, that's exactly the question I would have asked. We are this week, we are reading the book of Exodus. We begin the book of Exodus, of the Jews leaving Egypt. I've always asked myself a simple question. Why did God not create a single leader that could take the Jews out of Egypt and into Israel? He didn't do it.
We were 18 of them, I think, weren't they?
No, but the major thing is he created a team of 4. But why couldn't he create, how long would God created the world in 6 days?
Right.
It would take him a second to create such a leader. You know why?
Why?
God knew that if you want to lead Jews, you need a committee. And he creates
It's the same thing today. I have to
Exactly.
tell you.
But what's new about this committee is that Jewish leaders brought specific qualities to their leadership. Moses, if he would have applied to me for a job at Hillel, I would never have hired him. He couldn't talk, he was stuttering.
Stuttered, yeah.
He was always unpopular. People were blaming him for everything. He was a lousy administrator. His father-in-law comes to visit him and says to his daughter, "Where's Mo?" She says, "He's not home, he's a Jewish leader." He was outside the tent judging every case by himself. He'd never heard of delegation of authority. He had none of the qualities of leadership. But what? He was driven by a mission. And that's why he became the greatest leader of all times. He was joined by his brother Aaron, who knew how to be articulate. He was joined by his sister Miriam, who knew how to be passionate. He was joined by Joshua, who knew how to be a federation exec, an administrator. But you can't do that if you don't have a Moses with a mission. And the mission that we Jews share today, and every agency has got to learn that we have only one mission. I don't care if you're the Prime Minister of Israel or you're a nursery school teacher at the JCC, you share the mission. And that mission is, how do we ensure the continued significant renaissance of the Jewish people? Bibi, that's your job. Nursery school teacher, that's your job. You have different tasks, but that's your mission.
Yeah, but I don't know, how successful are we, or have we been?
We haven't been successful
That's
enough.
exactly right.
And we've got to try, and we've got to bring up a leadership that can look at themselves carefully and say, am I a Moses? Can I develop a mission? And if I am not, can I find a Moses and be his Aaron?
Yeah.
Can I find a Moses and Aaron and be their Miriam? Can I take this mission, this articulation of the mission, this passion for a mission, and be a Joshua who turns into a program of action? If we could build leadership of that caliber, we
must, though. We really must.
Yeah, we have to.
One of the reasons that we have Hillel, and it's become successful, and Birthright, is to create that involvement and that
100%.
attachment. Like, right, tell the story about the table with 5 legs.
Before I do that, you mentioned Birthright. I want to tell you something about Birthright.
Okay.
I was there at the very beginning of Birthright. I was there with these two unbelievable lay leaders, Michael Steinhardt and Charles Bronfman. People for whom I have unlimited respect. Phenomenal people, people of vision. We had a dream that was bigger than Birthright. It wasn't a dream about how can we send young kids to Israel, but how do you create a world in which every Jewish kid is born with a ticket to Israel tied to their umbilical cord. That was the vision. Why was that the vision? Because try to imagine a world in which a kid is born and he has this ticket to Israel tied to his umbilical cord. He looks at the next bed, there's Mary with nothing tied to her umbilical cord. He asks himself questions. What is this? Why did the Jews of the 20th century give me, a Jew of the 21st century, a free trip to Israel? And why not to Spain? Why not to Hawaii? And it raises all kinds of questions. Because Jewish education should not begin with answers, but with provoking questions. Creating situations when people ask themselves, wow, a kid on Birthright, I make them ask themselves, why do these guys give me this gift? What lies behind that? Jewish peoplehood, our concern for the future. And that is why we have a problem, because we Jews are never going to all be the same. I'm never going to become a Reform rabbi. Most of my friends who are Reform rabbis are never going to become Israelis. Most Hasidim are not going to become kibbutznikim. We are not going to be uniform. We have a challenge. Can we be unified without being uniform? We can only do that if we find ways of taking things from peoplehood that define who we are. So I think peoplehood has 5 legs. Jewish memory, Jewish family, a connection to Mount Sinai and God, the land of Israel and the state of Israel, and the Hebrew language. If we can get people to commit themselves to that, boy,
We got it made.
we've got it made. And you're doing your share with us, programs like this. I thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being with us. Such a pleasure.
You're very welcome. I really enjoy it.
Me too. Thank you for being with us as well. Be with us again next week when we have another look into the Jewish world. Goodbye from Mosaic.